Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Colorizing Along with a Photo Alchemist. So for our first color along colorization, I have chosen this beautiful Edwardian lady. Her name was Constance Hartchart Smith, and we are very lucky to have access to such a lovely photo. In fact, we are very lucky because we actually have access to the glass negative of the original photo. Now, as you can see, it has some cracks here, but to save us time, I have actually restored the photo. You can learn how to do that by accessing my course, Restoration and Colorization for Beginners using GIMP. The link is below. And also, to save us some time, I have already created the color palette for the skin tones, which I will be using. That tutorial is also in the course, so you can learn how to do this yourself. Okay, so first of all, we've got this beautiful lady. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make her a little bit bigger so we can actually see better what we are doing, and we're going to start by creating a base layer for her skin. So I'm going to call this layer base skin. Okay, so now everything I do is on that layer, not on the original layer, and I am going to change this layer here to LCH color. Okay, so now using the pick here, I'm going to choose the base color of her face, which in this case I'm going to go with this. And then with a paintbrush, what we are going to do is just paint all of her skin. Okay, so we're just going to paint all the bits of the skin. Obviously, we're going to leave the inside of the eyes. So this is the time where you can have some nice music on, or if you prefer, one of my favorite things, this is also my reading time in a cheating manner, because this is when I generally have like an audio book playing, so I catch up on my reading while I work on my colorizations. So in some parts you can go sort of fast, but in other parts you're gonna have to go rather slowly, because we don't want to go into places that we don't want to, and we have to sort of reduce the size of our brush as we work, so we can get into all the nuts and crannies, especially like when we get to bits like here where we have her hair, which we will address in a minute. But so this is the adding of the base color. Okay, and of course we've got to colorize her neck as well. Now, if you want to be a perfectionist, you can actually make the image bigger and really go deeply into each of these little crannies in between the pearls. The reason I'm not doing that is because I don't want this video to become so huge that it won't let me upload it onto YouTube, but you do get the gist of it. Okay, ooh, I went over there, but there's no problem. Okay. Okay, now you can't see what I'm doing, but basically what I am doing is I am actually with a stylus on my screen doing this, but you can also use a mouse, or a pen mouse is actually better, because it won't tire your fingers so much. I'm using the rubber just to take out the bits I did that were not right. And you can start. There we go. Correcting the mistakes. Okay, so Constance is already looking less pale than she was, and we can actually sort of start seeing where we're going with this photo. Okay, right, so here in between the hairs is always a little tricky, but like they say, the devil is in the detail. And so is, if you want to make your picture as good as possible, taking your time to go in between the hairs is a very good thing. Of course, you could mask it and do it in a different way, but as I said, this is how I do it, and it's an easy and kind of relaxing way to do it. Okay, right, so we've done the base of a face. So now I'm just going to blend it a little bit here, so it's not like so harsh in the lines with the hair. Okay, I don't like sort of really straight lines, like block coloring. It sort of makes it a little bit artificial at times. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next layer, and this one I'm going to call it the shadow. And for this one, I am going to go with a soft light effect. And I'm going to go with the darkest possible thing here. I'm actually going to pick one dark there. Okay. And now again with my brush, I am going to cover the parts where there is like shadows, basically. I like to add a little bit here to give the neck some definition. And the eyelashes. And now I'm going to lower the opacity here very, very much. And again, I'm going to blend it in. So we don't want all these things to be seen. We want them to be really, really subtle. Okay. Now, in a portrait with, I don't know, 10, 20 people, 15 people, you will have to do this individually, or at least I do, with each person, and using a different color palette, because nothing looks more artificial than having everybody with exactly the same skin tone, because that's not natural at all. Like, I'm sure you look yourself in the mirror, you look at your partner or your children, and you will have nuances, different colors. Okay, right, so I'm going to bring the base skin a little lower. Lovely, that's good. And now is the shadow. So as I blend the shadow, now you might think, oh, I can't even see it. What's the point of that? Well, so if I turn it off, you can actually see the difference. Okay, Lovely. So now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna add some light. So let's add some light. As we progress through these episodes, I will actually go into more complex combinations, because sometimes you will need to add different shadows at different levels, but as we're just on the first episode, I thought I wouldn't overwhelm you, because I want you to actually want to do this and follow along. So we're now on the light, and with soft light, and I'm going to add some light here. Okay, and perhaps here over her eyebrows a little bit, and maybe her chin. Yeah, that's lovely. And maybe just a little light there. Okay, I'm going to bring that well down again, and again I'm going to blend it. Okay, and now I'm going to add the blue hue. So I'm gonna go here and just get some very pale blue there. And again, I'm gonna go with soft light. And I'm gonna add some blue just here under her eyes. And I'm also going to do the inside, the white insides of her eyes. Okay, and again, I'm going to bring that really low, and we're going to blend it. Okay. Okay, so I think it's time to add the rosy bits. So another layer, and we're going to add the rose. Now, on my tutorial about creating a skin palette, you will find that all these tones were taken directly from a face of a colored photo. So basically what you do is you find a picture of someone who you feel the complexion and hair color sort of matches the person you're trying to colorize, and then you create this palette in order to create something that is basically believable, and that it also looks natural. There's nothing worse than when you see these colorizations that are just so harsh. Okay, right, and I think maybe I am gonna go in up a little here. You see this foreground color, you can actually change it, and I'm actually going to go for a bit of a pinker version, because I actually think, yeah, that is better. Okay, and we're going to put some rosy on her cheeks, and don't forget the ears, because our ears are not the same color as our faces. And of course here, the inside of her eyes. Okay, and again we're going to bring that down, and we're going to blend it. Increase the force, I want this blend to work. Okay, blend think this cheek here seems to be a little bit too rosy for me, so I'm going to take out a little bit of its intensity. Oh, that's much better. Okay, and now I carry on blending it. Okay, lovely. Okay, so now we will add some other tones to the face. So this is like tones. Okay. And here I am going to pick sort of like this coffee color, and again I'm going to go with soft light, and I'm going to add some here. Maybe a little bit there. Okay. Now we're going to take that well down. Because the face is made of different colors. We all have different complexions, and if you look yourself in the mirror, and this is a very good thing for you to grasp this, is if you go and look yourself in the mirror, you will see that there are so many different colors and things in your face, that it's important to take that into consideration when you are colorizing a person, if you want it to look natural, that is. Okay, right. And this is also one of the reasons why app colorization often goes bad, because it literally colorizes the whole face one color with the exception of the lips, and sometimes even the inside of the eyes end up a bit orange. So okay, lovely. So now we're going to move on to her eyes. So we're going to go eyes. Okay, and it goes like again. And I think she has a sort of a pale blue. Now it's very tempting to go, oh, let's go bright blue. No, no, no. Just always go for tones that are sort of not so lively. And you can also make a palette for eyes, which I generally do if I am working on more than one person. So there we go. And now maybe it's time for us to do her hair. So we're going to call these hair base. And for the hair base, I'm going to pick the dark color here. And on soft light, I am going to basically fill in most of her hair. It's a little bit like coloring for adults, isn't it? and now here we're going to have to start to be more precise. Here we're just going really like, and you'll see why we do this in a minute. Okay, and now we're going to bring that opacity really down. And we're going to blend this. And at this point we go back to the base color of the face, and we also blend it in. And back to the hair. Here it's looking a bit. Now we don't want any sort of hard lines around the hair, otherwise it sort of makes it look really artificial, unless of course you're doing a 1920s photo where they really had like square hair at times. Okay, I think I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so now we can see there's some kind of highlights in the hair there. So let's add some highlights here as well. So hair, you can call it hair light. And perhaps we're going to go with, let's go with this here. I could be changing my mind, but I think at the moment I'm happy with that. And now here and there we're just going to, where we see this little, okay, I'm going to bring that well down, and now with a blender we will blend it. I'm still not very happy with this hairline here. It needs a little bit more work. Okay. Right, let's just bring it down a little bit. Okay. All right, down. Okay, so we've pretty much finished the hair part. So now let's look at her clothing. And for her clothing we're going to go for something really simple. We're actually going to go for a white blouse, which was very common in Edwardian times. So we add another layer and we go blouse, base, let's go with soft light as well, and let's go and pick a very pale blue. When you pick a very pale blue, it looks like white on the screen, but it looks more natural. And we're going to paint her blouse. So let's just no. What a beautiful blouse this is. And again, we need to go here in the cronies. Now that is actually a flower. So okay. So when you're working on a large bit, you can make your brush bigger, and then when you want to work on a smaller bit, you make your brush smaller. Makes sense, doesn't it? Just like if you were painting in real life, you would change brushes, but when you're working with photocolorization, you don't need to do that. You can just make the brush smaller. Okay, we're almost there. Ooh. Okay, right, so now, and we've gone over here on the bits of the flower, we'll fix it in just a minute. Just fix these bits here that we shouldn't have gone. Now I'm just blending it in so it sort of fades into the background just like the original does. And now we will bring it down a tad, because obviously we wanted to add color, which it does. There's another flower there that we shouldn't have colorized. Naughty, naughty. This is a flower here. Lovely. Now this seems to be like the end of the material, so I don't want to blend it too much, so we'll just leave it like with a little blend. Okay, so now it's time for us to work on the flowers. So we're gonna go and we do flowers. So with the flowers, we're gonna use a LCH color, and we're gonna first do the stalks. So we're gonna go find a nice green here, flowers. You need to have quite a steady hand at times and a lot of patience. The amount of times I've rushed and then had to restart because patience was not one of my fortes before I started restoring and colorizing photos. I just want it now. But sometimes you have to wait. But like my grandmother used to say, if it's worth waiting for, it's worth waiting for. You know, and everything that's good is worth waiting for. There's something like that. I think I wasn't paying much attention because I was a very naughty girl. Okay, so we've done the green, the stalks. And now I'm going to call these flowers too. And I am a sucker for pinks, so I'm going to go with a pink. But you can actually choose any color. I think those are kind of daisies, not daisies, pansies. So I'm going to imagine that they are a pink soft pansy that she's got here. But maybe they are not. But they sure look like pansies from the back. And as I can't see the front, I am going to go with my instinct for these flowers. Actually, looking at them, they could also be petunias, couldn't they? But you can get pink petunias, so all is good. Okay. Going to the nuts and crannies. Okay, and I'm gonna bring that well down. You didn't think I was gonna leave it that bright, did you? Okay, lovely. So let's have a look at our lady. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the skin palette because I don't need it now. And I think she is pretty much done. Maybe just sort of blend her blouse color a little bit lower. And now we can do something in the background. So we're gonna go and add another color here, and I'm gonna call it background. Now a brown background will work here, or a blue, but I think I'm actually, yeah, I'm gonna go with a blue because I think it will bring out her eyes. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna pick some, like a proper blue, like there. Okay. And I'm going to go again with soft light, and I'm not gonna apply it to the whole thing. I'm just gonna apply it here. It kind of has a highlight, and you'll see what I'm doing in a minute when I lower it. So it's just sort of around her. It's a kind of an extra vignette. And it sort of reminds us of like the colors of the sky. Okay, and then I will bring that well down, really down. We're looking at like 17%. And then here I can blend it. So it's kind of a blue fuzz, just to add a little touch. Okay. Yes, and I think Constance is ready. So looking at it 100%. So this is what we had when we started with, and this is what we have now. So I hope you enjoyed this first episode and tutorial, and you will subscribe to my channel and come back for more next week. Thank you.